So let's talk about an idea that might just change the way you think about, well, you. Our whole understanding of what personality is, it's going through a huge shift, and it's all because of artificial intelligence. What if I told you that everything you've learned about who you are, that you're an introvert or conscientious, was basically a low-resolution photo? That's the big question that AI is forcing us all to ask. All right, so to really get where we're headed, it helps to understand where we've been. For a long, long time, psychology had some pretty standard ways of mapping out who we are. A lot of us have seen this before, right? The big five. You take a test and it gives you a score on these 5 traits. And they're useful, for sure, but they can also feel a little flat. They tell you what you are, but they don't really explain the how or the why. And this is the key problem. The old tests ask you what you think you're like, but let's be honest, are we always the best judge of our own behavior? AI does something totally different. It doesn't ask. It just watches. It observes our real, everyday actions to find patterns we don't even see ourselves. So what happens when a machine can analyze the behavior of millions of people, not just for a 20-minute survey, but all the time? Well, it finds something pretty profound. Instead of just a few dozen questions, AI is looking at countless little details. The specific words you choose when you write an email, the kinds of things you look at online, even the tiny ways your voice changes when you're feeling stressed. It's creating a much, much sharper picture. Here's a really simple way to think about it. AI isn't some kind of mind reader. It's just an incredibly powerful pattern-finding machine. It sees thousands of tiny behaviors and connects the dots to see the bigger picture of how you're likely to act. And this is where we get to the big reveal. What AI found is that personality isn't just one thing. It's a system with different layers that turn on and off depending on the situation. It's not a static label. It's a living process. So this discovery gives us a completely new model for seeing ourselves. Not just a flat list of words, but a pyramid, built up from 5 distinct layers of who you are. We're going to explore this pyramid together, starting from the very bottom. We'll begin at the foundation of our behavior, the stuff that happens before we even have a chance to think. Right at the base, we have what are called behavioral reflexes. These aren't choices. They are tiny, automatic things your body does way faster than your conscious brain can even keep up with. You know, like when you unconsciously tap your foot during a tough exam, or the way your eyes might flick away for just a split second when you hear something that makes you uncomfortable? AI can actually measure these tiny patterns that we're almost never aware of.
Building on top of that foundation is our cognitive style. And this is a big one. AI found that our ability to focus isn't really about willpower or discipline. It's about your own personal, built-in rhythm for how you use your mental energy.
So some of us, we work best in short, intense bursts. Others need those long, quiet periods to really get in the zone. One isn't better than the other, they're just different styles. It's not a flaw in your character, it's just how you're wired. Moving up the pyramid, we get to our emotions. But AI doesn't measure if you're an emotional person or not. It measures something way more interesting, how your system responds to an emotion, and, more importantly, how quickly you get back to feeling calm and balanced. So the real thing to look at isn't how angry or anxious you get. It's about how long that feeling hangs around. What's your emotional rebound time? That pattern is what defines this layer. It's a process, not a permanent state. Now, this next level, this is where things get really relatable. The big discovery here is that you don't just have one personality. You actually have several, and you switch between them depending on where you are and who you're with. And this is why those old tests sometimes feel so off. You aren't just one thing. The you that speaks up confidently with a small group of friends is different from the you that's quiet in a huge lecture hall. You're not being inconsistent, you're being adaptive. I mean, just think about that for a second. Have you noticed how different situations seem to pull out different versions of you? That's your situational self right there, in action. And finally, we get to the very top of the pyramid. This is our adaptive identity. This is the big picture. It shows that over the long run, when we become more aware and change our surroundings, our personality can and does evolve. It grows.
Okay, so we have this really cool new pyramid model. But what's the point? What does this actually mean for you and me in our actual lives?
Well, it changes a lot. It means we can go beyond those simple labels. It means one day, education could be tailored to your real cognitive style. But maybe the most powerful thing is it gives us permission to stop feeling stuck, to stop saying, oh, well, this is just how I am. Let that sink in for a moment. Your personality is not a life sentence that you have to serve. It's a dynamic, ongoing process that you can actually be a part of. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. If who you are isn't a fixed point, but this adaptable, evolving system, then the only real question left is, who do you want to become now?